All right, let's just jump right in. We all have to deal with tough conversations, right? Whether it's at work or at home. Today, we're going to unpack two really powerful science-backed techniques from a former FBI hostage negotiator, Chris Voss, that can pretty much help you master any of them.
Oh man, I think we've all been there. Your heart starts pounding, your face gets all hot, and words, they just kind of spill out. You feel completely out of control. It's such a universal feeling, and it turns out there's a very specific biological reason that it happens.
So, what is actually going on inside our heads in those moments? Well, it's not a lack of willpower, I can tell you that. It's a biological process. Let's take a look at the mechanics of what neuroscientists call an emotional hijack. Okay, so think of your amygdala as your brain's own personal smoke detector. It's designed for one thing, survival, and it's constantly scanning for threats. When it thinks it spots one, and that could be a real danger or, just a sharp tone of voice, it can basically take over your entire system before the logical part of your brain even knows what's going on. Think of it like this. Information coming into your brain has two routes it can take. One is a super fast, bumpy, emotional shortcut. And the other, well, it's a slower, more scenic highway that actually allows for some careful thought. And this slide lays it out perfectly. The low road is lightning fast. A signal goes from your brain's relay station, the thalamus, straight to the amygdala. And boom, you react. The high road, on the other hand, sends that same signal through the cortex first, which is the thinking, reasoning part of your brain. The thing is, that just takes more time. An emotional hijack is what happens when that low road just completely beats the high road to the punch.
So how do we stop that hijack from happening in someone else? Well, the first tool we're going to talk about has nothing to do with what you say. It's all about how you say it. It's all in your tone.
As Chris Voss says, even if a negotiator didn't say the absolute perfect words, the right voice, that alone could save the day. Your tone of voice can either light a match or it can put out the fire before it even starts.
And this is the first technique, the late-night FM DJ voice. I want you to just imagine a radio host, late at night. Their voice is never rushed, right? It's never high-pitched. It's just calm, and it projects this kind of effortless control. When you let your voice drop down at the end of sentences, it just signals, I've got this. And the science behind why this works is it's so cool. It all comes down to something called mirror neurons. Basically, when you see or hear someone do something, these neurons in your brain fire as if you were doing it yourself. So if you use a calm, slow voice, you are literally activating the mirror neurons in the other person's brain, and they will, without even thinking about it, start to mirror your calmness. You're basically slowing their brain down with just your voice. So how do you actually do this? It's actually pretty simple. It breaks down into 3 easy steps. First, just consciously slow your speech down. Second, instead of letting your voice go up at the end of a sentence like you're asking a question, bring it down. This makes what you're saying sound calm and final, not like you're looking for a fight. And finally, keep it soft. It's all about being reassuring, not aggressive. Okay, so you've set the tone, you've got the voice down. Now it's time to actually choose your words. The second tool is all about verbally acknowledging the other person's emotions to dial down that intensity. This technique is called labeling, and it's not about agreeing with them or even judging what they're feeling. You are simply observing the emotion and putting a name on it. It is one of the most powerful ways to show someone that you're actually listening and that you get it. And here is where the magic happens. Neuroscience studies have actually shown that when a person simply identifies a negative emotion, the electrical activity in their amygdala, the low road, it actually decreases. The simple act of naming the feeling engages their rational brain, the high road. You're literally helping them shift from reacting to thinking. And the formula could not be simpler. You just start with one of these phrases, it seems like, it sounds like, or it looks like. Then you just name the emotion that you're sensing. For example, it seems like you're frustrated. Now, the most important step of all, after you say the label, stop talking. Let the silence do its work. I promise you, they will fill that silence and they'll often confirm your label and tell you even more. So you might be tempted to just say, it seems like you're angry. And look, that can work, but the most effective labels, the ones that really make a difference, they dig deeper, because anger is rarely the whole story. You see, anger is what we call a secondary emotion. It's really just the tip of the iceberg, the part that we can see. But underneath this surface, there's a whole bunch of other feelings driving it. Maybe they feel hurt or disrespected or powerless. Labeling one of those hidden emotions, now that is what creates a real breakthrough. So let's put this all together. Let's look at a real-world scenario. How do you combine that calming voice and these de-escalating words when you're actually under pressure?
So imagine this. A colleague comes to your desk and they are clearly agitated. A project you're both working on has just been changed at the very last minute, and it's created a ton of extra work for them.
They're just venting, right? And their frustration is so obvious. The low road is in full effect here. Now, your gut instinct might be to defend the decision, or even worse, tell them to calm down, both of which will only add fuel to the fire.
But instead, you take a breath. You adopt that late-night DJ voice, and you deploy a label. Now, notice this label doesn't just focus on the anger. It targets the feelings underneath the anger, feeling overwhelmed, feeling pressured. You've just shown them you're not just hearing their words, you're actually understanding their experience.
When you really start using these tools, you'll find that difficult conversations start to change. You're no longer just managing conflict. You're actually building connection and trust. This is like a new superpower.
And this really is the payoff. Yeah, you de-escalate the situation, for sure, but you accomplish so much more. When people feel heard, their defenses drop. They become so much more open to actually solving the problem. And all of a sudden, a confrontation turns into a collaboration.
This quote just nails it, doesn't it? The goal isn't to win. The goal is to create an environment where the other person feels safe enough to listen, not just to you, but to themselves. That's where real progress happens. So, as we wrap up, I want you to think about your own life. Is there a difficult conversation on the horizon for you this week? A relationship that could use a little more understanding? Just think about how using a calmer voice and a simple label might change the entire dynamic. What could you accomplish if you transformed that conflict into a real connection?